My sister Natalie is 2 years older than me. She was the firstborn, the one my parents planned for, the one they prayed for, the one they dreamed about. I was the surprise, the accident, the one they did not expect and never quite knew what to do with. My parents loved Natalie differently. They always had. She got the new clothes. I got her hand-me-downs. She got the car on her 16th birthday. I got told to save up for my own. She got her college tuition paid in full. I got student loans and a part-time job. I told myself it did not matter. I told myself they loved me too. Just differently. Just quieter. Just less. Natalie was beautiful and popular and successful. She married a wealthy man. She had 2 perfect children. She lived in a big house in a nice neighborhood. She posted photos of her vacations on social media. Paris, Hawaii, the Maldives. My parents reposted every single one. They bragged about her to anyone who would listen. I was different. I was not beautiful like Natalie. I was not popular. I was not wealthy. I worked hard. I built a small business from nothing. A cleaning company. Nothing glamorous. Just me in a van and a list of clients who trusted me to clean their homes and offices. I worked 60 hours a week. I saved every penny. I reinvested everything. Over 10 years, I built something real. A company with 50 employees, contracts with office buildings and schools and medical centers, a business that made real money. Amongst. My parents did not understand what I did. They thought cleaning was beneath me. They asked when I would get a real job. They asked why I could not be more like Natalie. I did not answer. I just kept working. I kept building. I kept hoping that someday they would see me, that someday they would be proud. That day never came. Even though my parents did not respect my work, they had no problem spending my money. Over the years, I paid for their roof when it leaked. I paid for their furnace when it broke. I paid for their car when the transmission failed. I paid for their groceries when their social security checks did not stretch far enough. I did not mind. They were my parents. They raised me. They gave me a roof and food and clothes. Not as much as they gave Natalie, but enough. I owed them. Or so I told myself. Glands. The big things came later. When my business really took off, I started giving them more a monthly allowance. Enough to cover their bills and leave a little extra. I paid off their mortgage. I bought them a newer car. I sent them on a cruise for their anniversary. Natalie did not help. She had money, but she said her husband managed their finances, and he did not believe in giving money to adults who should be able to support themselves. My parents did not criticize her for this. They made excuses. They said she had her own family to think about. They said she was busy. They said she meant well. I told myself I did not need their gratitude. I told myself I was helping because it was the right thing to do. I told myself I did not expect anything in return, but I did. I expected them to love me. I expected them to see me. I expected them to be proud. They never were. The anniversary dinner was my idea. I wanted to do something special, something they would remember, something that would finally make them look at me the way they looked at Natalie. I rented the private room at La Belle, the most expensive restaurant in the city, the one Natalie had mentioned once that our parents had always wanted to try. I ordered roses, white, my mother's favorite. I arranged for a cake with their names and the date of their wedding, 40 years. A long time. I bought them a television, 85 inches, the kind that costs more than my first car. I had it delivered to their house before dinner. I wanted them to come home to it. I wanted them to see it and think of me. I arrived at the restaurant early. I checked the table. The flowers, the candles, the menu, everything was perfect. My parents arrived 15 minutes late. They did not apologize. They did not thank me for the flowers. They sat down and asked when Natalie would be there. I said Natalie is not coming. She is on vacation with her family. My mother frowned. She said you should have told us. We would have rescheduled. I said I wanted to celebrate with you. Just the 3 of us. My father said nothing. He picked up the menu and started reading. The dinner was awkward. My parents talked about Natalie, her vacation, her children, her house, her husband's promotion. They asked me nothing about my life, nothing about my business, nothing about the 50 people who worked for me, or the contracts I had signed, or the money I had made. I tried to steer the conversation. I told them about a new client I had landed. A school district. Big contract. Big money. My mother nodded without looking up from her plate. Then came the moment. My mother set down her fork. She looked at me across the table. She said, "Rachel, we need to talk about something." I said, "Okay." She said, "Your sister called us last week. She is worried about you." I said, "Worried about what?" She said, "You work too much. You do not take care of yourself. You do not have a husband. You do not have children. You are 40 years old, and you have nothing." I said, "I have a business. I have employees. I have a house. I have savings. I have everything I need." My mother said, "Those things do not matter. What matters is family. What matters is being a wife and mother. What matters is being the kind of woman your sister is." My father nodded. He said, "Your sister would have planned a better dinner. She would have chosen a nicer restaurant. She would have bought a more thoughtful gift." My mother said the final words. The words I will never forget. She said, "Rachel, you are not half the woman your sister is. You never have been. You never will be." I sat there in the private room with the white roses and the anniversary cake and the sound of my mother's voice echoing in my ears. I did not cry. I did not scream. I did not throw anything. I just sat there, silent, still, cold. I drove home in silence. I did not turn on the radio. I did not call anyone. I just drove. When I got home, I sat in my dark living room and stared at the wall. I thought about everything I had done for my parents: the roof, the furnace, the car, the groceries, the mortgage, the monthly allowance, the cruise, the television waiting in their living room, the television they did not even know I had bought. I thought about all the times I had tried to earn their love, all the times I had worked harder and given more and hoped they would finally see me, all the times they had looked past me at Natalie. I thought about my mother's words. "You are not half the woman your sister is." I realized something that night, something I should have realized years ago. I would never earn their love. I would never make them proud. I would never be enough for them. Not because there was something wrong with me, because there was something wrong with them. They had chosen their golden child. They had decided who mattered and who did not. And nothing I did would ever change that. I stopped trying. The next morning, I called my bank. I canceled the monthly allowance. I stopped the automatic payments. I closed the account I used for their expenses. Then I called my parents. My mother answered. She sounded cheerful. She said, "Did you see the televisions? It is beautiful. Your father is already watching football on it." I said, "Mom, I need to tell you something." She said, "What is it?" I said, "I am canceling your allowance. Effective immediately. I will no longer be paying your bills. I will no longer be giving you money. I will no longer be supporting you." Silence. Then my mother said, "You cannot do that. We depend on that money." I said, "You should have thought about that before you told me. I am not half the woman my sister is." She said, "I was just being honest. I was just trying to help you." I said, "You were being cruel. You have been cruel to me my whole life, and I am done accepting it." My father got on the phone. He said, "Rachel, do not be dramatic. Your mother did not mean it. She was just tired. The dinner was stressful." I said, "The dinner was stressful for me. I planned everything. I paid for everything. I bought you a television that cost more than most people's rent. And you told me I was not good enough." He said, "We are family. Family forgives." "Ban," I said, "family does not say those things to each other. Family does not compare. Family does not make one child feel like nothing, while the other child gets everything." He said, "What about Natalie? She cannot afford to help us." I said, "Natalie can afford to help you. She chooses not to. And you make excuses for her. I have been helping you for years. And you cannot even say thank you." He said, "We are grateful." I said, "You have a funny way of showing it." I hung up. My parents called me every day for a week. I did not answer. They left voicemails, angry, pleading, guilt-tripping. They said I was punishing them for being honest. They said I was throwing away our relationship over a few words. They said I would regret this when they were gone. I saved every voicemail. I did not respond. Natalie called next. She said, "I heard what you did. You are being ridiculous." I said, "I am not being ridiculous. I am being done." She said, "Mom and Dad need that money. They cannot survive without it." I said, "Then you give them money." Banned. She said, "You know I cannot. My husband controls our finances." I said, "That is not my problem." She said, "You are destroying the family." I said, Natalie, you have been the favorite our whole lives. You have never had to earn their love. You have never had to prove yourself. You have never had to sit at a dinner table and, be told you are not half the woman your sister is. Man, she was quiet. I said, I am done. She said, you will regret this. I said, maybe, but I regret trying to earn their love even more. Jen, I hung up. 6 weeks passed. My parents did not call. I did not call them. The silence was strange at first. Then it became peaceful. I realized how much energy I had spent worrying about them. How much time, how much money, how much of myself. I started using my weekends for myself. I took up hiking. I joined a book club. I slept in on Saturdays. I stopped checking my phone for their messages. I stopped dreading their calls. Then the letter came, handwritten, my mother's writing. She had not written me a letter since I was in college. Dear Rachel, I am sorry. I have been thinking about what I said at dinner. It was wrong. You are not half the woman your sister is. You are more. You are kind and generous and hardworking. You have built something real. You have helped us when no one else would. I was blind. I was cruel. I was wrong. Please forgive me. Please come back. We miss you. Love, Mom. I read the letter 3 times. I almost called her. I almost drove to their house. I almost fell back into the same pattern. Give and hope for love. Then I remembered something. My mother had not apologized for what she said. She had apologized for hurting my feelings. There is a difference. She did not say I was wrong to compare you. She said you are more than your sister. That is still a comparison. That is still measuring my worth against Natalie's. I put the letter in a drawer. I did not respond. Yeah, it has been a year since the dinner. My parents and I speak occasionally, short calls, holidays, birthdays. They do not ask for money anymore. They know I will not give it. Natalie still does not help them. She says her husband does not approve. My parents have learned to live on their Social Security. It is not much, but it is enough. They have downsized. They sold the house I paid off. They moved into a small apartment. They seem okay. I am more than okay. I am free. I no longer measure myself against Natalie. I no longer wait for my parents to approve of me. I no longer give my time and money to people who do not appreciate it. My business is thriving. 50 employees have become 80. I bought a new building. I have an office with a window. I have a team of managers who handle the day-to-day. I work less now. I live more. I adopted a dog, a golden retriever. He sleeps on my couch and follows me from room to room. He does not compare me to anyone. He just loves me. That is enough. I am dating someone. A man who does not care about my sister or my parents or my past. He cares about me. He sees me. That is enough. I still think about that dinner sometimes. The white roses. The anniversary cake. My mother's words. They do not hurt anymore. They just remind me of who I used to be. Someone who needed their love. Someone who thought she was not enough. I am enough. I always was. They just could not see it. If you are going through something similar, here is my advice. Stop trying to earn love from people who have already decided you are not worthy. You will never convince them. You will only exhaust yourself. Give your time and energy to people who see you, who appreciate you, who love you without conditions. Those people exist. Find them. Hold on to them. And if you are financially supporting people who disrespect you, stop. Just stop. You do not owe them anything. Not for raising you, not for feeding you, not for keeping a roof over your head. Those were their choices, their obligations. Not your debt. My parents said I was not half the woman my sister is. So I cut them off financially. I did not do it for revenge. I did it for survival. I did it because I was tired of giving and getting nothing in return. I did it because I finally realized that I deserve better, and I was right. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more tales of family boundaries and the courage to choose yourself. Click the bell for notifications. And remember, you are not half of anyone. You are whole. You are enough. You always have been.